Stop! Why are you guys smoking on the set of Education Today? Don't you know it's a tobacco-free area? Didn't you ever see the episode on the Great Smokeout?
No. Well, Education Today
starts now!
Welcome to Education Today. I'm John Zish from the Armstrong School District. As you may know, Pennsylvania has a statewide smoking ban in place. That means, with few exceptions, smoking is prohibited in any public building. At the restaurant, waiters no longer ask you, smoking section or non? We as advocates for children and youth agree this is a positive step to protect non-smokers. However, we realize that smoking is a habit that is still harming countless people, including large numbers of teens. So vigorous anti-tobacco efforts are still needed. And we have an innovative one to talk about tonight, about the Great American Smokeout Day, which is coming up Thursday, November 20th, 2008. With us tonight, we have Magisterial District Judge Gary DeComo from Ford City. We also have Dr. Rod Grooms, Director of the Emergency Department at ACMH Hospital. Welcome to Education Today, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Would you please tell us briefly about yourselves and your professional experience?
I'm Magisterial District Judge Gary DeComo. I've been a magistrate in the Ford City area for the past 15 years.
Very good.
Hi, I'm Rod Grooms. I'm the Director of the Emergency Department. I've been running the ER at Armstrong County Hospital since 1985.
Thank you both for joining us. I'll start with you, Mr. DeComo. You've always been an advocate for chemical-free youth, and we appreciate your efforts on Community Awareness Day and the Drugs Kill Dreams initiatives. To add to that impressive list, you have something planned for November 20th, 2008. What exactly is it?
Well, we call it a tobacco alert. It's really a Armstrong County recognition of the American Cancer Society's Great American Smokeout. It's not a program, of course, just for me. It's a large, countywide community effort of tobacco prevention. That's what we have planned.
Okay.
And basically, let me add that without the, you mentioned the Community Awareness Day, without the support of the school district and this studio, Community Awareness Day, any of the programs I've done, my Drugs Kill Dreams program, would certainly not have been as successful without the help of the school district and the studio. So I want to thank you and the school district.
Definitely our Board of School Directors and Administration see this as an important partnership. So we thank you for your efforts. So I see you've brought the sign for tobacco alerts, tobacco-free area, stop. You have the tobacco alert program. What is the tobacco alert program, and why did you choose November 20th?
Well, we chose November 20th because each Thursday, each third Thursday of the year annually, the Great American Smokeout is celebrated on the third Thursday of the month in November. Okay. Excuse me. So we brought Armstrong County recognition to the Great American Smokeout this November 20th. And we have a variety of things planned for the day. Do you want me to go over those?
Yeah, sure. I was just going to ask you what events are planned.
We have the district attorney, Scott Andresi, is doing a blitz on all stores that sell cigarettes in the county. That's the first step. We're preparing a video with doctors from the hospital, other recognizable people that's going to be shown to 5th, 6th, and 7th graders throughout Armstrong County. We have handouts for 5th, 6th, and 7th graders that are going to be handed out in our Drugs Kill Dreams bag.
Okay.
We're going to be using the 2 electronic billboards in Catania and Fort City to put on tobacco prevention messages. Of course, we have the no smoking signs that we're going to put up in every area that we get permission to put them up. We have various flyers, one from the hospital with the doctors from the hospital on it, We have a flyer that we made up with drug prevention, tobacco prevention information on it. And we also have standard tobacco prevention materials we're going to put in the bags for the kids. We're also going to be do a bonfire.
A bonfire.
A bonfire. That's the sort of last process that day.
Culminating activity.
Culminating
We call it in the
activity.
schools.
We're going to do a bonfire. I've been collecting cartons of cigarettes from about 5 or 6 area stores over the last 30 days. And we're going to do a bonfire at the hospital, sort of symbolizing people paying to destroy their good health or their life using tobacco. And it's all full of cartons of cigarettes. We estimate that probably in Armstrong County, stores sell about 1,000 cartons of cigarettes a day. That's just an estimate.
So this will take place outdoors, I assume.
Outdoors, yeah.
And it's cartons of empty cigarettes, or the store's giving you?
No, cartons of empty cigarettes.
Okay.
They won't give me any full
Right, I
cigarettes.
didn't think
so. Cartons of empty cigarettes. I have them all collected in my office. I have a room full right now.
Wow.
I have a room full.
Now, is the focus of this day on adults or youth, and why?
Well, we have a focus both on adults and youth. We have, for adults that use tobacco, we have quit lines and information they can use through the hospital in Ark Manor to quit smoking. And for adults that don't use tobacco, we have just information for them to help us with the kids, to help us prevent kids from starting to use tobacco. And for our youth, we have the same thing. For youth that use tobacco, we have quit programs set up, and for youth that do not use tobacco, we have more prevention materials. So it's for both youth and adults.
That's good. Now I'd like to turn things over to Dr. Grooms and ask you, from your perspective, why is this an important event?
Well, I think everybody now realizes the health risks involved. And interestingly, if you look back at the history up until about 50 years ago, people didn't really realize how bad smoking cigarettes was for your health. And they used to have commercials where doctors would say, 7 out of 10 doctors recommend Camels or whatever. But in the 50s and 60s, when it was realized that lung cancer was almost directly a result of smoking, 87% of lung cancers are caused by cigarette smoking, this all started to change, and now the percentage of adults who smoke has gotten much, much lower. So we really feel like as a society we're making progress here to get away from this addiction. It's interesting, the people who know the most about health are doctors, and only 4% of doctors nationwide smoke cigarettes. So I think that's an indication they realize how serious that problem is. And aiming at the youth is just a natural extension of that program, because the majority of lifetime smokers start when they're in high school or even in middle school. So if we can get people through high school without smoking, then they have a good chance to be tobacco-free for life.
That's an excellent point. Now, as an emergency room director, emergency department director, what problems do you see in Armstrong County that come as a result of smoking?
Well, there's no question when cold and flu season comes, which is on the way, that the majority of people we see with lung-related problems are smokers. So when you smoke cigarettes and you inhale hot toxic gases down in your lungs, you might imagine that this wouldn't be a good thing. There's a built-in defense system to keep germs out of your breathing tubes, your bronchioles, and your lungs, and smoking interferes with that. So much, much more likely to develop bronchitis or pneumonia if you smoke.
Now, this might be more for you, Mr. DeComa, but what are the laws concerning minors and tobacco?
I like the hot toxic gases.
Yeah, that really put it in perspective.
I like the hot toxic gases. The laws are that it's against the law to furnish in any manner a tobacco product to a minor. That's basically the law. It's against the law for a minor to purchase tobacco. If he tries to put a fake age or fake card, that's against the law. It's a summary offense for both of them, and they can be fined for that. They can be fined for that.
Okay. Now, where do minors get tobacco products? You still see that sometimes as a problem.
Well, a lot of people, when I told you about the large amount of tobacco products being sold in Armstrong County stores, you would think that our young people are getting it from the stores. But I don't believe that. I believe they probably have maybe an older brother or friend that's 18, go into the store, buy some cigarettes, and share it with their friends. I believe that happens. But I believe the stores are doing a very diligent effort in prevention.
Sure.
They've been trained. The district attorney does spot checks, and I bet you over the last 2 years, you probably only have 15 or 20 people written up for selling tobacco to a minor. So I think they're doing their job. I think it's family and friends, and unfortunately, I think some parents who use tobacco products don't think there's anything wrong, and they provide it to their kids.
Yeah. There's actually an old joke about what do you get your friends for Christmas? You get them a carton of cigarettes. What do you get your enemies? You get them 2 cartons of cigarettes.
Since we're talking about people younger than 18, Dr. Grooms, do you see many of them come to the emergency department for smoking-related things, or is it more when you're older that tends to catch up with you?
No, there's chronic diseases that catch up with you, emphysema, chronic bronchitis, and what we call COPD, and that's at middle age and older. But no, the acute bronchitis where you get chest infections, if you have asthma, that tends to be worse with smoking. And it's amazing that the number of people who have asthma, you would think they would be most sensitive, and you ask them if they smoke, and they do. So it's all ages.
Well, Mr. Tacoma, since you've been so involved about Community Awareness Day and Drugs Kill Dreams, is there a correlation between tobacco use and other drugs?
Yeah, it's a fact. It's not just something I see.
Okay.
Young people that use tobacco products are more likely to use other harmful drugs. In fact, one statistic that I read said if you use tobacco products, you're 100 times more likely to use other harmful drugs. And basically, to take that a step further, most people with an addiction that I talk to, and I've talked to quite a few hundred of them, most of them started using tobacco products at an early age. The first drug they experimented with, and most of them started using tobacco products at an early age, and it went right up. And I'll tell you, we see it all the time. Tobacco, alcohol, marijuana, prescription pain relievers or cocaine, and then the devil drug, heroin.
A progression that
Progression.
often occurs. Okay. Well, I appreciate that overview very much, gentlemen. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Armstrong School District Education Today. We're talking about the November 20th tobacco alert that's being planned for Great American Smokeout Day in Armstrong County. Stick around.
Before I came to IUP, I had no idea what college would be like or what role I would play or where I'd be in the future. But when I came to IUP, everything changed. I met people who really made me feel like I belonged. I had great classes at a great nationally ranked university. Hi, my name's Megan Miller. I'm a fine arts major, and this is my university.
We're back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. We're talking about the November 20th tobacco alerts being planned for Great American Smokeout Day in Armstrong County. Mr. Tacoma, how can people get involved in the November 20th tobacco alert and Great American Smokeout?
Well, I think there's two things. Support people that are trying to quit smoking. Number two, encourage youth never to start smoking. And number three, there's a prevention group called the Armstrong County Tobacco Free Coalition at 724-354-2746 that people could join to help us in our prevention efforts.
Very good. Now, with all that we know about the dangers of smoking, why are young people still beginning this dangerous, unhealthy habits? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's primarily peer pressure because it's certainly not a natural activity to roll up some leaves in a piece of paper and light it on fire and inhale it.
Yeah.
So somehow this got to be that this is cool to smoke cigarettes. And at a certain age, children are rebellious. They want to separate themselves from their parents as they grow through adolescence, so it's just part of that teenage rebellion.
I think you also have tobacco companies spend millions of dollars glamorizing cigarette smoking for the young ladies and smokeless tobacco for young men. And then you have sports heroes and some adult mentors that use tobacco products in front of kids. And when you see a professional baseball player with a big chew in his mouth, some young kids might think that that's what it takes to be a professional baseball player. Not the athletic ability. They think that's an added feature, so they chew because they see their sports heroes chew.
Right. Now, a related question is, we're just three old guys saying, don't smoke, don't smoke. Somehow I feel like it's going to take more than that to reach the teens. We don't really want to be patronizing. We want them to just make good decisions on their own. Is that something that's really doable? Do people have to fail to figure this out for themselves, or are there any innovative ideas you know of that are going on that reach teens that aren't preachy? You know what I mean?
I think it's just the whole, as I mentioned before, society is turning against smoking because it's been realized just how expensive this is to society, taking care of people's health problems, also missed work from infections from smoking-related illnesses. So I think you just get a critical mass of people who don't smoke, and then it becomes a very minority activity. And there's always going to be people that smoke, and it's been shown in the 1930s with banning of alcohol that doesn't work on a society-wide basis. But if you can just get so that the critical mass of people don't smoke, then this is going to make it much less likely that people begin.
Basically, I think if you continue to increase prevention, you're going to decrease addiction. We have young people talking to young people in the schools, and sometimes that helps when they hear people that are 13, 14, 15 talking to 5th and 6th graders. So we're trying to attack the problem in every way we can, but we just got to keep moving forward.
That's good. I appreciate both of those answers. Dr. Grooms, can you tell us your thoughts about the statewide smoking ban?
Well, I think it's important just as a piece of the puzzle of society recognizing what a problem this is and trying to eliminate it as much as possible. It's also for the health of people who don't smoke. It's been shown through studies in the last 20 years that secondhand smoke can be quite dangerous. So somebody who lives in a house with multiple smokers, studies have been shown, for instance, if two parents smoke and they have an infant, that the infant's much more likely to get ear infections. So it's just creating a healthy environment where you don't have to walk through smoke and your clothes end up smelling like smoke and have to be laundered because of other people's activities.
Another question for you, Dr. Grooms. I understand ACMH Hospital is going smoke-free, not just in the building, but on the entire campus. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, some other hospitals have done this, and we looked at their experience and decided that this would be a good thing. And we have some unions, we have unionized employees, so we talked to them, and it was surprising the number of people that were in favor of this, even some smokers who thought, maybe this will finally be the push I need to get me to quit smoking. So probably the first of the year, we're going to go non-smoking. Right now, you're not allowed to smoke in the hospital.
Obviously, right.
But there's little smoking huts outside, and the smokers all gather around, and you can tell where they are by all the cigarette butts around. But they're out there in the winter when it's freezing and it's snowing and the wind's blowing, and they've got blankets around them, and they're having their cigarette. But this will be eliminated completely from the campus, so they won't be able to go out on their break.
Okay.
We actually, interestingly enough, I'm the jail doctor for Armstrong County Jail, and we went smoke-free there on September 21st. And the same kind of idea is that the county, a lot of people don't realize this until you get your tax bills, but the taxpayers pay for the health care of all the prisoners. Even if prisoners have insurance, health insurance, when they go in jail, it no longer is operational, so the county has to pay for all the health care costs. And so when somebody in there gets a cough and cold, it spreads through like wildfire because they're in confined space. So we figured if in the long run, if we can decrease the number of people smoking, that will improve their health and lower the cost for the taxpayers.
That's an interesting point. I understand that, Mr. Tacoma, you're making a video about this in partnership with some others. Can you please talk about that and how it'll be used?
Well, we found over 15 years of experience that the video compliments of the studio at the school district seems to be one of the most effective tools we can use. And the reason for that is that if we have an assembly, we bring Dr. Grooms, 6 other doctors in. We take up a lot of their time for an assembly type format. However, and we take up a lot of teaching time, and we don't want to do that in school. So we found that the videos have been a tremendous tool. We don't take up a lot of teaching time, and at the same time, we get an effective message to the kids uniform throughout the county. We supply the videos, the teachers hook them up to the system, and in 15 minutes, they get the same type of information they would get in a 1-hour assembly.
Very good.
So they've been a pretty effective tool.
Well, why don't we take a look at some of this video? We'll be right back with Education Today.
Do you know of anyone who has died from a tobacco-related illness? I have. And unfortunately, I see it all too often. I'm Dr. Kathy Salvaggi, Medical Director of the Richard G. Lobby Cancer Center. I'm a medical oncologist. That is, a cancer specialist. I want to talk to you about the hazards of tobacco products. And I think the best way to do that is to talk about 3 myths about tobacco products. First of all, people think that cancer is an old person's disease. Couldn't be farther from the truth. I recently took care of a 29-year-old gentleman who started chewing snuff and smoking at the age of 9. When this gentleman presented at the age of 29, he had cancer of the throat. He required several surgeries, some which were very disfiguring to his face. He had a hole in his throat in order to breathe. He required radiation and chemotherapy, that is, drugs to help kill the cancer. Despite
I'm Dr. Rod Grooms here at the Emergency Department at Armstrong County Memorial Hospital. I just wanted to talk to you for a minute about the effects of smoking on your health. It's flu and cold and cough season coming up, and there's absolutely no question that smokers are more prone to respiratory infections. This isn't surprising when you think about it.
I'm Jerome Bettis, running back with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And when it comes to drugs, the bus stops here. Drugs kills dreams. Don't let it kill your dreams.
Thank you for that video, Mr. DeComo. I have a question about just in the global scheme of things, how is America doing in terms of reducing smoking addiction? We hear a lot about Europe, for instance. Anyone who's traveled there will find probably that there's a high percentage of smoking, it seems, in public places. Does anyone know any of the global trends?
Yeah, I think America is definitely the leader in this. A higher percentage of adults in Europe and other countries smoke than in the United States, but they've all realized the wisdom of this approach, and I think in most of the Western countries, they've begun to make efforts to decrease the amount of people smoking. It's an even sadder situation in the developing world where they really can't afford this. I've been in places where they sell cigarettes individually because people can't afford a whole pack, and they share it amongst themselves.
You think about just how the money it costs to smoke and how it's taking away from people who really don't have the money to give. If you mentioned the third world, they're obviously taking away from family needs, and it just speaks to the addictive powers of how nicotine, when it gets its hooks in you.
We estimate that in Armstrong County, stores sell over $1 million in tobacco products each month in our county, in our poor county. $1 million in tobacco products each month.
Somehow our people are finding
a lot of money
for it, making a priority for it.
That's
somehow.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes, obviously, I ask a lot of people whether they smoke or not in my business, and when they say they smoke, sometimes I'll say to them, "Oh, you work for the tobacco company?" And they'll say, "No, I work for the brickyard." I say, "Well, you know, if you smoke a pack a day, that's $30 a week, you make $15 an hour, then that means 2 hours a week you're working for the tobacco company.
Wow, that puts it in perspective. Well, do either of you have anything else to share for the benefit of our viewers?
Well, I'd like to first thank you, John, and the Armstrong School District for having me on here. I want to thank Dr. Grooms
yes,
for coming on the show. There's a lot of people that help us, and in any efforts I've made in prevention, it's been a complete countywide cooperation. And some of the people that helped on this, if you don't mind if I mention a few.
Yeah, go ahead.
District Attorney Scott Andresi, Sheriff Larry Crawford, Ark Manor, the ACMH Foundation, of course, Armstrong Indiana Drug and Alcohol Commission, and all the magisterial district judges in our county have helped.
Wow.
And are willing to support and pass out different things in their communities.
Sure, such as this
so
bag.
It's been a big effort, but we've always had a lot of help. And that's the bag we're going to hand out the prevention materials in.
Very good. Well, that's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guests, District Judge Gary DeComo and Dr. Rod Grooms of the ACMH Emergency Departments, for giving of their busy schedules to promote this important message. Our thanks also go out to the TV production students of Fort City Junior Senior High School, led by their teacher, Mrs. Barbara Keller. They were our film crew today. Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. Visit our website for updated information about the district, and have a great week.